I'm joined now by George Robinson, CEO of RavenQuest BioMed, trading on the CSE under RQB. George, welcome back.
Always great to be back, James.
You bet. George, quick question. I saw a press release today. There's somebody's making a claim for IP violation against RavenQuest. Do you care to comment on that?
Sure, I'll comment, but the comment is really, it's in front of the courts, but we've put a very strong internal process together that is really looking very good for us. But we'll leave it at that. We're excited to delve into this thing and deal with it, but it's before the courts.
Okay. Let's then start with an overview of what's happening in Edmonton right now at your plant there.
Well, the last time that you were there and you shot the video, we had the grow room 1 completely full, as you've seen. Grow room 2 is starting to fill, and grow room 3 is starting to fill. And then lastly, we're just waiting for Health Canada to do its thing to get the other 5 rooms that you noticed when you were there up and running. Somewhat frustrating. Health Canada has had some information for the last couple of months, and we just haven't heard back from them, but we'll continue to press them to get that going on. But everything is on target and on plan, and grow rooms 1, 2, and 3 are looking fantastic.
Sure. You recently announced that you have received an export permit to send some product to Australia. Give us an update on what's happening there.
Yeah, you know what? We see Australia as an important place for us to be. I mean, we'd like to see the sun never set on RavenQuest. So to do that, we have to be able to find really great partners. And our partner out in Australia, MedCann, is just fantastic. So we've shipped the product. It's made it there. We've just got notice today that they've received that product. So now we have a guaranteed supply chain movement through all the customs and all of the different, let's say, regulatory bodies. So now we get to move forward on that. So it's really exciting time for us to find yet another place and another diverse revenue stream for RavenQuest.
Sure. You have been sort of making moves in Europe and around the world. How is the whole global footprint coming for RavenQuest?
I just think if you take a look at it outside of RavenQuest, I think what's happening out there is people are starting to realize that the largest part of the consumption that's really occurring in the medical market, and if you're focused on the medical market, Europe really tends to be the place to be. So us are continue to push to move into Portugal and establish cultivation, processing, and final product development. Gives us the opportunity to sort of not have to get into import and export permitting. Once you're cultivating in Europe, and especially in Portugal being a EU member, we can then ship on purchase order demand to any of the countries that are in that space. 2, it kind of reduces the amount of cost for shipping overseas, takes away about 8 to 10 weeks in application and permit processing on every order from Canada to there. It's an extremely important place to look like, and if you look at a minimum 400 million people, it's a huge, huge market that you have to be in.
Right. Okay, so then do you see that the evolving landscape in Europe is still more of an opportunity for players who are not European? Or do you think that Europe's eventually going to sort of backfill its own production sort of scenario with its own players? And in terms of like the opportunities for companies like RavenQuest, how does you see that playing out in the future?
Well, you know what, there's a lot of interest amongst European-based countries to come in, but essentially today, most of them are asking for Canadian partners. The reason why is that we've got some lifetime, we've got some regulation, and we've got some proof that what we know how to do to produce good cannabis is something that we've already figured out. But in time, I think that will balance. So if you don't move there quickly enough, I think that's, in fact, where the problem will really exist, that if you're then maybe 3 to 5 years from now trying to ship in there, just the shipping costs and other things will make it hard to deal with. But it's no doubt that even seeing France get into a 2-year testing period, you're starting to see some countries that were not really part of this discussion even 12 months ago have entered into the discussion of medicinal cannabis. So I just see that as a huge market, much easier to work in than in the US, having different regulations state to state. I see this as being a very, very attractive market. And if you don't go in early and create a footprint, I think it's going to be very difficult for late players to come into that market. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, because you are, you have your sort of finger on the pulse of the entire Canadian industry. Hexo came out with a half-price marijuana, basically, and some other companies are starting to follow suit. Do you think that's going to drive the cost per gram down for consumers at the expense of LPs generally in Canada now?
Here's what I think is going to happen is that mid-grade cannabis, however that's defined, but let's say consumers have started to realize that they're not going to accept low-quality product. That means taste, texture, moisture levels. So what's happening to respond to that, people who may want to enter in and move product are going to have to reduce that price. So this is the commoditization of the industry. So if you're going to be a big player with multiple hundreds of thousands of kilograms, maybe this is the action that you're going to have to take. I think RavenQuest at 11,000 kilograms is nicely positioned to still offer a high quality product into the recreational space. But we're still medicinally focused. We'll have a portion of our product that goes in there, but we're not going to compete with those who are trying to sell 200, 300, or 600,000 kilograms into the retail market here. I think that's just a race to the bottom.
Sure. When we visited you there last, you were discussing some new lighting strategies that you were going to be deploying on an experimental basis. Have you deployed those, and if so, how is it working out?
So we've got the lights in and we're going through all the testing of the lights. And what does that mean? We're looking at room temperatures, we're looking at PPFD, it's just a measurement of light pressure or light density. That's happening. We should be loading that garden up now that we've tested the lights. We know that they will last for the total life cycle of 8 weeks. Now the plant material will be going in there. So it's already gone through all of the initial testing. It's proven out. We've taken a look at cooling temperatures and temperatures around the light source. We've looked at light flow or airflow, so we're ready to go in there. So from what I understand from the production team, I guess early next week, now it's late this week, that cluster will be filled with cannabis light. But we're really liking what we're seeing right now from overall light spectrum, and this is a spectrum developed by Dr. Synergy Carr and our design team. We've been able to design that very quickly and get it into the facility. So it's meeting all the requirements that we want from a spectrum perspective. It's meeting the requirements for the climate that we want to control it in. So we're now looking forward to load it in there, which should be next week.
You bet. All right, George, that's a fantastic update. We're going to leave it there for now, and I'll come back to you very soon. Thank you for the update.
Always great to chat with you, James.